the channel, it's the return of the Kyle Peterson Top 5 with a deeper cut one than normal. Who are we talking about? We're talking about Big John Studd.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here. Welcome back to the channel for another edition of the Kyle Peterson Top 5 list, a Thursday staple here on the channel. Every Thursday we're doing a countdown of some sort, and today's countdown, we're going to a little bit of a deeper cut than normal. What are we doing? We're doing the top 5 Big John Studd figures of all time. One of the big giants of 80s wrestling. Of course, we all remember his feud with Andre the Giant, his partnership with King Kong Bundy, his time with the Heenan family, some of his iconic figures over the year as well. Not a ton of figures for him, but definitely a decent amount and more than I think most people think of when they think of Big John Studd. Is they maybe think of 1 or 2 figures, but there's a lot more than that out there. And of course, we're going to count these down, and we're going to start at number 5, work our way to number 1. And as always, remember, this is my list, so make sure you put your list in the comments down below. So without further ado, let's kick it off. Let's take a look at number 5 in our top 5 Big John Studd figures of all time. All right, we kick off the top 5 at, of course, number 5. And number 5 comes from one of my favorite lines of all time. What is it? It's Jakks Classic Superstars, Deluxe Classic Superstars. And we got Big John Studd from 2009 in the very last set of Classic Superstars, Deluxe Classic Superstars. We got Big John Studd, and this was a bit of a head scratcher. I was kind of shocked. You know, the Deluxe Aggression style, the Deluxe Classic Superstars line was a Toys R Us exclusive. It did not go on as long as the traditional line, so we got a lot of heaviest of heavy hitters in the Deluxe Classic line, and Big John Studd seemed like a little bit of a misstep almost, and I think it was the end of the line. They said, who do we have available to us that we haven't done? And that's where Big John Studd's name got drawn. But this one has always been intriguing to me. It has always been a sleeper figure. First off, I remember seeing the Glamour Shop portraits of this and saying, wow, they're making Michael P.S. Hayes as a Deluxe Classic figure. I can't believe it. And then I saw it's actually Big John Studd. And then when you look at it, yeah, you know it's Big John Studd. But I can see people using this as a Michael P.S. Hayes custom for sure. Now, the cool thing about this figure, and the reason it's on the list for me, is it's just so far out of left field. Like I said, it was a deep cut for that line especially, but it's not your typical Big John Studd figure. Every other one of his figures basically are the same outfit, same gear. This one does something totally different. This one takes some risks. This goes back to his prior of his WWF days into his NWA, Mid-South days, other journeyman wrestler days for sure. With the blue trunks instead of the white tights he always had, we get the blue tights here in this case. The red boots, of course, a staple of Big John Studd, a staple of my footwear as well. Got the old red shoes here, but a good figure. Of course, the Deluxe Aggression style is always good. I like the head sculpt on this one. Just one of those sleeper figures that it's one of those ones that not everybody knows about or not everybody likes, but you always kind of have a soft spot for. That's where this one comes in for me, and that's why it's number 5 on my Big John Studd list. All right, we're at the number 4 spot in our top 5 Big John Studd figures of all time. And number 4, we go to Mattel. We go to the Elite line. We go to the Target exclusive Heenan Family 4-pack. A very, very cool thing that I wish that we got more of. Unfortunately, we only got 2 of those 4-packs. It looks like packs are coming back. We do know there's a Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman, Roman Reigns 3-pack coming to Amazon. Maybe the return of the box set is upon us. We'll see what happens with that. But of course, Target had a Heenan Family box set, and I have that right here. It did go to some super deep clearance. That's why we don't see those after all these years. But it was really, really cool to get Big John Studd in the Elite line at the time with his Heenan Family cohorts, of course, was always nice. But I always liked this Big John Studd figure. Now, when you think of Big John Studd, you think of Big John Studd gear. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I always do think the red classic boots. I think of the white tights and then the stars on the side. That's what I think of all the time, and that's exactly what was represented here. This was a perfect first edition Big John Studd. Obviously, doesn't have all the 2022 bells and whistles with accessories, pinless joints, double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. Doesn't have any of that kind of stuff going on here. But all day long, it is Big John Studd, and it was very fun to get this at the time it came out as a Target exclusive. For those reasons, he comes in at number 4. All right, we're at the halfway point of our top 5 countdown. Do you got your list together? Make sure you put it in the comments down below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. We got these every single Thursday, as you guys know by now. All right, we're at the halfway point, like I said, and we're at number 3. What is the number 3 Big John stud figure? Well, it comes from my favorite wrestling figure line of all time. It comes from the Classic Superstars line, and it comes from Series 2, and it is Big John Studd Classic Superstars Series 2. And that makes sense, because Big John Studd now, he entered into the Classic Superstars arena. We got the Deluxe one. We saw it number 5. We also got another Classic Superstar in a 3-pack with Jake the Snake Roberts and Andre the Giant in his referee official gear from WrestleMania, of course. But this is, once again, much like the last Mattel one, it is your classic Big John Studd figure. This is what you expect when you get a Big John Studd figure. When you think of him, this is the outfit. Once again, the white tights going on, the blue stars, the red shoes, red boots, nice mustache and beard combo going on, the long flowing locks. Heck, he could be my double here. Who knows? Maybe people will start saying, Kyle, you know what? You used to look like AJ Styles. You used to look like The Big Show. You used to look like the Cowardly Lion. You used to look like Conrad Thompson. Now you look like Big John Studd. So who knows? But very, very cool figure here. Of course, there was a variant of this one with different accessories. I just love this figure, though. I loved it when it came out. And it was just so exciting, the Classic Superstars time. We always get excited for our Mattel Legends. Imagine having a dedicated line that was out every single month with new figures, new classic guys, and you never knew what to expect. That's what Classic Superstars gave us. And Big John Studd definitely fit in that line, and that's why he came in so early in Classic Superstars Series 2, and that's why he's on my list here at number 3. All right, we're down to the final 2 on our Big John Studd countdown, and at number 2, we go back to Mattel. We go to the Legends line. We go to Legends Series 11 for Big John Studd. And now it's a lot like that Heaton Family 4-pack that we got a couple years before this, but it's been beefed up. It's like it's been on steroids is what we got here. So we got the pinless joints. We got the double jointed features here. Of course, we got the soft goods robe, and then we got a little bit updated in the facial department. Now, not the best face. I actually probably prefer the face on the Heaton Family 4-pack, and I also probably prefer the face on the Jakks Class Superstar to this one. But the soft goods robe and the updated technology and the newness of this one, this puts it a little bit ahead, but still a fabulous, fabulous figure. One that did go to clearance, but I could see rising in the future, as a lot of these Legends, once they're off the shelf, man, they start upkeeping in price. They're taking an uptick. Billy Gunn, a recent one here from the DX Invasion, he was the first one of that group. He was on clearance in some stores, and now he is a pretty penny on the aftermarket. And I think Big John Studd's day will come. I don't think he's ever going to be $100, but this might be a $40, $50 figure here in the next couple of years, because people will want the definitive Big John Studd from Mattel, and most things, people will agree this is it, and that's why it comes in at number 2 on my top 5 list. All right, this is it. We're at the number 1 Big John Studd figure of all time. But before we get to it, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the old notification bell. Like I say, every single Thursday here on the channel, we've got a new top 5, top 10 list, and we're getting dangerously close to our next top 10 list. We'll have to figure out who to do for that one, the 19,000 follower edition here on the channel. And then while you're here, make sure you follow along on social media at SirPaul64 on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. So without further ado, let's get to number 1. And you longtime wrestling figure collectors probably know what is number 1. Number 1 goes all the way back to 1984, goes all the way back to the LJN days, as it is the LJN Big John Studd. Now, to most people, I think, in the planet, this is the most iconic Big John Studd figure of all time. This thing was at many a garage sale, many a Kmart, Target, Walmart, Toys R Us, Children's Palace, you name it, store shelves forever. A lot of people own this, even if they weren't a wrestling fan, had this in their collection at one time, or can point this one out in a lineup and say, oh, there's Big John Studd, because people had this on the playground. This was an iconic, iconic toy back in the day. It was iconic to me as well. Now, of course, him being a giant, he was a little bigger than the other LJNs, but his knees were always arched down a little bit. He was bent at the knees to make him look a little smaller. That was an interesting way to get around scaling, I guess you would say, in a little bit. But an iconic looking figure that, you know, people just don't forget. And I would say it would be interesting to do a top 5 list of the top 5 most iconic LJN figures of all time. It'd be interesting. I think this would be in the top 5 list. Definitely the Hulk Hogan, the Macho Man. Gosh, it would be tough. Hillbilly Jim's another one that's very, very iconic, as so many kids got that first series of LJNs that weren't even wrestling fans. Grandparents saw these were the new hot toys. These were everywhere. I'll get these for my grandson for Christmas, even if they don't like wrestling. A lot of friends of mine on the old playground had LJNs that didn't really like wrestling. It's just they got them, and that's just a crazy everything, and that's why this Big John is so well known and so fondly remembered by a lot of people. And you can go to any antique mall, toy show, toy shop out there, and you're probably going to come across this Big John stud. He's not going to set your wallet on fire or anything, but he is definitely iconic for me in my playing days, and just an overall very, very cool figure. And there was no doubt in my mind when I thought about this list that he was going to be number one, and he stayed number one after I slept on it. Big John stud from 1984, Series 1 of the LJNs. And I'm going to ask you guys again, make sure you put your list in the comments. Do you agree with my list? Do you got your list? And like I said, you got to put them in order. That's the hard part. That is the fun part. So let me know your thoughts on this list down in the comments. And of course, don't forget about the Patreon. Link in the description below. You can get this video much, much earlier. Bonus content, exclusive content, monthly giveaways, and best of all, you support the channel. You can also support the channel over there at Pro Wrestling Tees. Search Kyle Peterson. Pick up a t-shirt. So for the Big John Stud Top 5 Countdown, I'm Kyle. I'll see you guys all real soon.